Hi, it's good to meet you. We run a company called the Muse, which helps about 1 million people a month figure out what they want to do with their life. So job search, career advice, career pathing, etc.
I love what you're doing. I love the fact that you're focused on women, and all of that is great. But I can't help not believing that you can scale this company. I don't see how you're going to scale it from 1 million to 5 million or 10 million, and really develop a solid revenue model. I went to your website. I checked it out. You have to convince me about that.
Well, first of all, I think it's important to note that we're tackling a massive market. We started focusing on women, particularly women in their 20s and 30s, but our demographic right now is much broader than that. It's around 35% male, and that keeps growing. The average age is 29, so we're collecting a lot of people in their mid, late 30s, 40s who are changing careers, redefining themselves. And I bet if you looked around at the people there are a significant percentage of them are really questioning what they want to do professionally, thinking about whether they're in the right place, looking for a new job, thinking about looking for a new job, hiring someone.
It's not hard to do what you're doing anymore. I don't see how you differentiate yourself and how you really leap ahead of the big players right now. How do you gain them a mind share?
So it's hard. It's not that hard to start what we're doing. Most of those sites tap out under 100,000 users. There are very, very few that break the 1 million mark, and the ones that do obviously are household names. Some of the biggest sites on the web are career sites.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, what a lot of companies figure out is, okay, I can do videos, I can do that sort of visual content manually in-house with my 5-person staff. But when you're looking to go and scale, we've gone and taken the best of what Airbnb did early on with their network of photographers, what eBay did in their very first days, also working with photographers and figuring out, we work with a network of freelancers around the country and soon in Europe as well, to go send them out and make it entirely a scalable model. And we have it down to flat rates, replicable across cities. We're already in 13 cities right now.
And I guess I just want to emphasize that someone is going to win in this space for the new way people are thinking about careers. It is very competitive, and we're not blind to that fact, but we happen to be extremely competitive people. And I think that there's going to be a massive winner in this space. And I feel like we've gotten a great head start and have a very unique perspective.
I really want you to succeed, but I'm not convinced that you've got the money to do this, or you've got the backing or the team size. What you're trying to do is massive. I mean, if you look at the big players, Airbnb and all the others, they had gazillions of dollars from the Silicon Valley crowd. They had a big advantage over you. You don't have that kind of money or infrastructure to scale the way you need to. How are you going to surmount?
No, we don't have it yet. We don't have it yet. That's true. I think Airbnb's first round was raised at about the same size as ours, 1.2 million, and they've scaled from there over the last 4 or 5 years. We just celebrated our 2nd birthday last Friday, so we're officially 2 years old. We've grown almost entirely organically because people love us so much they share us with someone else. So we haven't yet had to put a lot of money into paid acquisition. And I completely agree with you that a lot of capital is going to be needed to scale this. But I think we're setting ourselves up so that when that happens, we're really ready to accelerate.
Yes, and the challenge is also that if you start growing too much, you can't trust the quality of what's being posted over there. You'll simply have companies posting propaganda, and it'll become ads. I'm not convinced that this can be scaled the way it needs to be.
So what's interesting about the economics of what we're doing is that the prices that we're setting right now and that are working with our clients is well enough to cover the third-party freelancers that we send in. So what we do is we have this network, we train them, we manage the quality of the content, and none of the content is actually being created or propaganda from the companies. It's actually why our users think we are so differentiated, is that it's not the typical PR, this is such a fun place to work, we work hard, play hard. It's like actually going into the culture.
We're very cognizant as well of how many companies each person can handle. Obviously, if it was a 1 to 10 ratio, that would never be scalable to a global business. I think what we're looking at is, for each employee in-house that is managing this process and policing it, so to speak, can we have 100 plus companies that are that are on board per that?
First of all, you're tech focused. The type of companies are the ones you're comfortable with. So to expand beyond the size you have, you now have to start getting outside the industry. Okay, that's my number 1 concern. Number 2 concern is all LinkedIn has to do is to have some photographers go out and add a little bit more culture stuff to what they have, and bang, they own your market.
Yeah,
answer
not
those
at all.
questions.
So no, I get what you're saying. We do hear that a lot. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing this if I thought that that was what the end game was going to be here. Basically, so to your first point, we do have a majority of tech companies. That's because they're known early adopters. We're also working with Gucci, a major luxury brand, with McKinsey, a management consulting company, with L'Oreal in the fashion and beauty space. And so we've actually seen a lot of adoption among these other industries. It just takes them a little bit longer than it takes tech, especially just the actual selling process of getting in and getting alignment. We also are definitely noticing that the reasons people come to us is very different than the reasons people go to LinkedIn. It's a very different user base, and it's a different DNA. LinkedIn is your professional network. It's a highly transactional product where you collect content. It's very useful. I use LinkedIn a lot, and I recommend that people get on, but it doesn't help you make career decisions. It certainly doesn't have a personality or a brand that is any sort of relationship with its users, and it's built, I think, for a very, very different purpose.
So still the concern is how you're going to scale. How are you going to get the venture capitalists to give you $50 million, $100 million so you can build the next LinkedIn? That's your challenge here. And being women, the startup you have a handicap in the tech world. Sorry, that's a tough reality of it. How are you going to get beyond it?
Yeah, well, firstly, I pitched 150 people in the first 3 months we were fundraising, and 148 of them said no, and 2 people said yes. Right. I do the fundraising for the Muse, and you can rest assured that I'm not planning on stopping until we find the people who are going to back this and who are going to give us exactly what we need to make it big. There's always a capital constraint, and I think you're right that as female founders, sometimes it can be even more challenging to raise the really large amounts of money that you need. But that said, a lot of the people that turned us down in the first time I spoke to them, they came back 6 months or 12 months later and they said, I told you weren't going to be able to do the things you did, and you've accomplished all of them, so now I want to get on board.
Our margins are over 90%. If we continue to sell the way we are, we can get profitable and we can bring that to people. And I think that's going to make the real difference. At the end of the day, people want to make money. That's why investors do it.
I love what you're doing. I love your attitude. I love your confidence and your assertiveness. Make this succeed. I want to buy stock in your IPO, all right?
Fantastic. That sounds great. Thanks, Vivek.